Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I just wanted to tell you guys the story of Yvonne Menke. Now, Yvonne Menke back in 1985 was gunned down at her home in St. Croix Falls, Wisconsin. For many, many years, very, very many years, this went unsolved until now, until recently, until the last year. So, let me tell you a quick story about who Yvonne was, and we'll get to the body cam of the arrest being made. And then I will tell you what happened to this person who finally was brought to justice. So, Yvonne Carol Owen Menke was born on February 15th, 1940, in St. Croix Falls, Wisconsin. Her parents were Laverne and Owen Johnson. She was the oldest of two. She did have a younger brother. She married James Menke Sr. and had 4 children with him. She had 5, but one of them passed away. We'll get to that. So she had Sue, Becky, Julie, James Jr., and she did have a daughter named Amy, but Amy passed away shortly after birth. She ended up getting divorced from Joe Menke Sr. and got an apartment with her 2 youngest, Julie and James, at 121 South Washington Street. In 1977, she started dating Jack Owen. Around that time, James Jr. ended up moving out. So it was just her and Julie at the apartment at the time that this happened. On 12/12/1985, Yvonne got up to get ready for her shift at the Centuria Laundry. Now, normally what she did in the wintertime is she would go downstairs, start her car, and then go back upstairs, finish getting ready. Any of you who've lived in a cold climate, you know that's a normal thing to do. When I lived in Chicago, I would do that all the time because otherwise you're sitting in your car shivering, waiting for your car to warm up. So she did that, and she's in a small town too. So I assume it's pretty safe to do that back then in a small town, or she assumed it was safe to do that. While she's downstairs, while she's going downstairs, she yells to Julie, "Hey, I'll be right back. I'm going to start the car." And Julie's in the bathroom getting ready herself for her day. She's getting ready to get in the shower, do her makeup, all of that stuff. And she hears what she described as a whip sound. She heard one whip sound and then a short pause and then 2 more. She immediately gets on the phone to her sister, Sue, who Sue tells her, like, look outside, see if you can see Ma. And she does. She doesn't see her. And Sue tells her, go ahead and call the police immediately. So she does that. She calls the police and they find Yvonne down in the downstairs stairwell at about 6:20 a.m. Is when the shots were fired, and shortly, about 10 minutes later, is when they found her crumpled at the bottom of the stairs of the apartment building. So Julie looked out the window on the other side of the apartment, and what she saw was a person hurriedly walking away. And then when they got to the end of the alley, they started jogging. She saw somebody in a gray dress coat that was longer, it covered her butt. So it was a little bit longer. Sorry, their butt. We don't know if it's a man or a woman yet. Spoiler alert. Uh, anyway, they had a scarf on and a ski hat, and she couldn't see any like hair hanging down. So the hair was obviously tucked in. So a ski hat or beanie, they call it nowadays, a scarf, and a dress coat that was coming down to like mid thigh. Julie told police that 2 days earlier, she got a phone call early in the morning asking for Yvonne. When she told the person who was calling that Yvonne wasn't home, they kind of pried and asked, hey, when does she usually leave for work? And at the time, Julie thought it was kind of weird, but didn't see any harm in it and said, oh, she usually leaves between 6:30 and 6:45. And now, when she's reporting this to the police, she feels bad about it because she thinks she may have given the killer the timeline of when they could be there to murder her mom. So the police come out and they start the investigation. The autopsy shows that she was shot 3 times with a .22 caliber gun, and there's no shell casings on the scene, so they believe that it is a revolver that was used, a 22 caliber revolver. They bring the canines out, and the canines track the scent. They find a boot print, and the boot print, it says Arctic in the heel of the boot, and the canines track from that boot print to a bunch more boot prints down the street, around the corner, and it looks like there's a bunch of boot prints, like, all right in the same area. It looks like somebody got into a car and then drove away. The police interviewed all of Jack's, remember, Yvonne was dating Jack, all of Jack's girlfriends. Now, Jack was the type of guy who didn't settle down. He didn't know quite what he wanted. He saw a bunch of different women, and all of these women, he didn't hide it. He didn't say, "Oh, I'm exclusive with you," and then dating somebody else. He was quite open about how he dated different people, and all of these women seemed fine with it. Obviously, they weren't all fine with it because we have this happening. They interview all of Jack's girlfriends, but the rumors around town are really pointing to Mary Jo Bailey, because she worked with Jack. They did some horse training, and she worked with him, and Jack would be on with her when it was horse season, and then off with her and go back to Yvonne when horse season was over. And Mary Jo really seemed angry about this. It's a small town. This is just the rumors around town. So they go and interview Mary Jo, but they don't see these boots. They're looking specifically, as they're interviewing these girlfriends, for these boots. They track them down. It's a moon boot. Do you remember moon boots from the 80s? I had a pair. I think mine were rainbow bright, and they changed colors when you went out into the cold. I think the rainbow appeared on the boot when it was cold, and then the rainbow would disappear when it was not cold. That's beside. So they're looking for these moon boots. They don't find the moon boots at Mary Jo's house. So they write her off as a suspect. She doesn't have the boots. It can't be her. 2023. They open this investigation back up again, and they start talking to people, and turns out not only did she own those moon boots, because there's a picture of her, a house where you can see the moon boots in the photo, like from before the crime was committed. But right after this crime was committed, she decided to get rid of a 22 caliber revolver. I have some body cam video I want to show you guys. This is courtesy of TCD, the YouTube channel TCD. I'm going to link TCD's channel down in the description. Please give them a follow, give them a like. It's a kind of a small channel, but they do great work, and I really enjoy their content. Like I said, it will be linked down in the description. Let's get to that video.
Call you back. Okay. Yeah, okay. Bye. Bye. Yeah, what did you want?
I just need to can you step out here for a second?
Yeah, I've got my pajamas on.
Hey, Mary Jo. Do you remember me? I'm Andrew.
From Wisconsin?
We were here last year.
I don't know if I do or not.
Okay, that's okay. I'm not very memorable, so that's okay.
Well, we have a warrant for your arrest, okay? So we're going to have to end up arresting you, and we're going to take you down to the jail today, okay?
I got some appointments. I guess supposed to.
You're not going to make those appointments, unfortunately. I'm
I know.
sorry.
I got to call my daughter then and let her know she's right down the street.
We can make that arrangements for you, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But we're going to have to make that call, so we can't have you make
We have
that
a
call.
search warrant for your house, and this is included in the search warrant, so we're going to secure this as well, okay? That's my rating.
Oh, I thought mine was.
Yeah, that's fine. So this detective right here, she's going to place you in handcuffs, and she's going to search you, okay? So you are under arrest. If you can just step down. Thank you, ma'am. Be careful.
Can I sit on something higher? My back.
Well, let her do what she needs to do first.
Yeah, so I'm gonna cuff you in front, okay?
And Mary Jo, do I have your permission to access your daughter's number and call to get so I can call your daughter, or how do you want that? How do you want that handled? Okay. And is she listed in your phone under a name?
It's in my. He's got my
Do you want
phone.
me
I
to
don't
take
know
your
that.
watch off so it doesn't hurt your wrist?
Oh, it's not that tight.
Okay.
Yeah, she's just down the street here.
Okay.
On the end. I don't know the number because it's in my phone.
She's in the park here.
Yeah, it's just the end. If you get my phone out, I can give you the number and you
That's
can
up
call.
to
Yeah,
this detective.
yeah. If you don't mind, I can just you tell me where to find the number, and
Okay.
I'm not gonna call or anything.
Yeah, just
but,
turn it on
Okay.
and then swipe it.
Swipe it. Okay.
And Brenda Miller right there.
Brenda.
Get that
So
one?
that's her number.
That's her number.
Okay.
Just hit the phone there.
Okay. So when
The interview you're about to see was released to us by the Polk County Police Department.
Memory that I had, evidently I parked here and went around to mail something, and this person was in that area, I guess. And,
Okay.
But a couple days ago, just out of curiosity, I stopped and looked, and she really couldn't have come from that way unless she was mountain goat, unless that's different. That's a pretty steep bank now.
Well, and I mean, we have to acknowledge the possibility that it wasn't her, right?
Yep,
I mean,
that
it's
is a possibility.
it's consistent with the description. So why don't you just kind of tell me what? So if I'm not mistaken, you parked right around here. Is that right?
According to this, that would be true.
Okay.
I didn't remember if I parked here or further down the street.
Okay.
So this gentleman is describing what's beyond the apartment, and I want to show you guys that so you can get a better idea in your head what this area of the country looks like, right? So here we are. This is the apartment building here. And if we zoom out, so it's here, there's the St. Croix River right beyond here. And there's a riverbank that's steep coming up the back. So when Julie looked out of the apartment, she was looking back here. This is where the cars would have been parked back here, and beyond that is a steep riverbank, and the river is right here. Let's see if we can go right back there. No, we can't get to the back. Can't get to the back. Maybe we can look over here to see the river. Okay, so this is her apartment up here beyond this home here. You can see it up there. So this is all wooded, thick woods, and a steep bank to the other side.
And then you came around, got into the leather box, came back. Where did you remember seeing her walk?
In my mind, I see her there.
There, meaning in the parking lot.
Yeah,
So not on the
along that
sidewalk,
edge.
along that edge?
That's kind of like where that no parking sign is, the one to the right.
Okay.
It's like where, I guess I would have gotten out of my truck and come this way. And went to there, but that person was there, and it was like she was trying to cross the street to get to a car. I didn't
Okay.
remember the green Ford.
So can you take me to, and I understand that this is your memory and it's so many years ago, and like you
Yeah.
said, it was 2 minutes. I get that.
Ship is just about there.
Yeah, I get that. From what you remember, to the best of your memory, can you walk to where you, in the area where you would have saw her? So I get a perspective of that?
I guess I would, yeah. Probably. Right in here.
Okay. And do you remember, was she standing or was she walking?
Walking.
Walking
Yeah,
this way?
that way.
Okay. So she didn't reach the sidewalk when you saw her, she was walking towards the sidewalk. Is that accurate?
She was walking towards the sidewalk, and it was like she was trying to get to the other side of the street, probably
Okay.
crossing here.
Do you remember how far she got onto the sidewalk?
Not clearly.
Okay. So that was your impression that she was walking across the street,
Trying-
but you
yeah.
never saw her cross the street. Is that accurate?
I saw her looking like she was going to cross
Okay.
the street. I can
Okay.
remember that,
Okay. Okay.
and I don't remember. It was like she was trying to go that way, across the street and go that way.
Okay. So positioning her body somewhat to the left,
Yeah.
right?
Just kind
Okay.
of just walking this way,
Yep.
coming from here. And
Okay.
what was odd,
Keep in mind, everything that this gentleman is saying tracks because they know from the initial investigation in 1985 that the canine dogs tracked exactly this direction north and then through this parking lot to where Mary Jo got into a car. So this eyewitness testimony for me holds a little more weight just because we have backup evidence, backup testimony from the dogs, I guess you would say, that this is the direction that the killer went.
about it was the timing from having,
Nonchalantly walking.
not wasting time.
What do you mean by that?
Not running, not walking,
Okay.
fiddle farting around, just she was moving along.
Would you be willing to maybe provide me an example? Just if you walked roughly the pace that you remember her walking?
You have a wife?
I do.
Have you ever seen her when she's in a hurry cleaning the house?
Yeah.
Running?
Yeah.
But she's not walking slow.
Okay. So not like this,
Oh, no.
right?
No.
How about like this?
Yeah, more like that.
Okay. So a brisk pace.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, just trying to get a mental image of what that description is.
I think that might...
So this is not the daughter that was in the apartment that night. This is a different daughter. This is also not the daughter that Julie, who was the daughter in the apartment that morning. I said night. Who was in the apartment that morning? This is not the daughter that Julie called. Julie called Sue. This is a third daughter.
Investigator named Mark Biller. Do you know Mark? Or maybe know the name?
I know the name.
Yeah. Okay. So Mark was obviously former DA, then he was a former defense attorney, and we brought him on once he retired because we wanted to give kind of a legal eye to this case, and then we were also starting to investigate it again, just new eyes, technology advances over the years, and a lot of reasons why all of a sudden this kind of came the way it did. And I told your mom, and I said, hey, Mary Jo, respectfully, evidence suggests you're responsible for this. And I believe she is. I mean, there's a warrant that was generated. The judge agrees to the extent of authorizing a warrant, an arrest warrant, where there's probable cause. And I told Mary Jo, I've met with the family, right? Our job here at this point is not to put your mom in prison for the rest of our lives. I mean, that's not my goal. I don't think that's the DA's goal. The goal is closure. And the goal is just trying to put this to bed. Is really what we're trying to do. For all of us, right? Exactly. You've been living with this your entire life on the other end of it, right? People talk about the Menkes, but you have also been affected by this your entire life. And when we talked to Mary Jo, and I think Steve will back me up on this, he was there, your mom, we basically told your mom, like, hey, this is coming down the pipe, and we want to work with you on this, right? And then and nothing happened at that point, which is totally your mom's prerogative. That's totally her right at that point. But we had to continue with the investigation, right? And then here we are. So now the next step was we have to bring her back to Polk County. So just giving you a little background as to how it came to this morning. And again, I don't know how much your mom has shared with you on this whole process, but
Not a ton, but
okay. So that's where we're at.
I imagine this is something her mom did not want to talk about at all, ever. Interesting that they're asking this daughter about it, which, I mean, I guess you never know. Somebody could have a guilty conscience and confess to a loved one thinking they're never going to say something. That could happen. But I think it's more likely that once this happened and she didn't get caught, she just never spoke of it again.
What, to the extent of what your comfort level is, what are your thoughts? What are your feelings right now?
I don't know. I'm shocked, I guess.
Yeah. Does it surprise you that we're now at this point, or
Kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know a ton.
Yeah.
Only what I finally got out, the last time they talked to me, what I got out of Roy Joy, but
Okay.
I really didn't know that much about it. I was living in the cities at the time, so.
Has your mom shared much about this case with you over the years? Okay. Is that, did she talk to you about us coming last year?
She said you came.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did she say about that?
She said I don't have anything to hide, so,
Sure.
she said she went.
Yeah.
But other than that.
Yeah. Okay. Do you remember there's in the old police reports, and again, I'm going by old work, right? I read old police reports, and I have no reason to believe that they're not accurate, but at the same time, if there's something in a police report, we want that corrected, right? So back then there was some discussion about Dan, who was your husband?
Husband.
Yeah. Missing some guns. Like there are some guns that he thought law enforcement had seized at some point during the investigation. Do you remember anything about
I
that?
have no idea. That's something you'd have to ask
No.
him.
Okay. Is he?
Not a gun person.
This is the interesting part of the story to me, which is why I'm bringing it to you. We hear in the last couple of years of a ton of cold cases, years and years cold, decades cold cases getting solved. And the way they're getting solved, the Golden State Killer, for instance, is DNA evidence, new technology evidence. And this case, 39 years old, is being solved through good old-fashioned police work. They're not using DNA, they're not using new technology. They're going back through the records and seeing where the initial investigation may have messed up or may have left loose ends, and they're tidying it up and they're coming to a conclusion. I think that's wonderful. I wish more cases would be looked at even when there's no DNA involved. A lot of times they'll find this case and be like, well, there's no DNA, so why even look at it again? These police officers in St. Croix Falls, Wisconsin said, nope, we're going to dig through it. We're going to start from the beginning as if we've never seen it before, and we're going to get to the bottom of it. And that they did.
Has Dan talked to you? Because we actually have interviewed Dan somewhat recently. Did he say anything to you about that?
No.
Okay. Well, one of the guns that, well, actually two, I think. Two of the guns that are missing were .22 revolvers. And Yvonne was killed with a .22 revolver. And we're trying to find where that gun went, right? If there's, if obviously that will help the case. I'm interested in the truth. I mean, and
Well, me
Steve
too.
and you, and is right. So
I just want to know what happened.
Ava wanted to come up and say hi, just so you guys know. Come here, Ava, come on. Nope. They are here. The dogs are here. I know you all see them on my live streams, but they are here. And if you decide that you're enjoying this video, I'm not used to making videos quite yet, but if you are enjoying this video, please consider doing a super thanks down there in the chat. And we will definitely reward the dogs on my live streams. When you all do a super chat, they do get milk bones. But if you decide to do a super thanks, we will also reward these doggies for you. Their lighting is not good because I wasn't planning on having them. There they are. There's Xena and there's Ava. Let's get back to this body cam. Remember, this is from Uh-oh. I lost it. TCD is the name of the YouTube channel. Please give them a subscription. Go over there and like their video. Let's get back to it.
yeah, that's what we're looking for.
And I'm
too.
still kind of in that. I mean, over the years, I've went through it and tried to get information, and I don't know unless she had a psychotic break. It's not her. I don't know.
Yeah.
Detectives believed Mary Jo must have gotten rid of the .22 caliber firearm used to kill Yvonne, but they still wanted to find out if Brenda, her daughter, had learned anything over the years that could help solve the case.
Weren't as close back then,
I
but you
was
guys.
young.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Yep.
What young
Yep.
adult is not rebellious against their parents?
Yep. Okay. Can you enlighten me a little bit more on just what you remember back then?
No, I really don't. I mean, it was just, me being young and like, I'm not going to do what you want me to do, that kind of thing.
I have a couple of those right now,
Right.
currently. Yeah.
I know, I've had some of those too.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, and if there's nothing to add, there's nothing to add. I mean, it sounds like you're kind of in the dark, like a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know? Okay.
Yeah, and same as everybody else. I just want to know the truth.
Yeah. Hi, how are you? Hi. Are you Patty? Yeah. Hey, Patty, I'm Andrew with Polk County.
A little badge gave it away.
Yeah, I figured. We got to go around.
Gus, he's just don't let him go with you. He will.
No problem. He almost jumped in my car, so I got the sense. Come and chat with you a little bit regarding the case, and so this is an old report that I have to go on. That one of the officers way back in 2009, I think, filed.
Yeah, this is like 38 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm going to be 66. The memory's gone.
Well, that's why I always put the report out there first, just to kind of break the ice a little bit.
Yep, I do remember them coming here, but I wouldn't let them in without a search warrant.
Oh, sure.
The reason was my stepfather, we had taken him, and I remember he had a sawed-off shotgun, and I know they're illegal. I'm like, no, I'm not letting the cops discover a sawed-off shotgun in my bedroom.
Yeah.
So I just told him, I said, you get a warrant, you can come look,
Yeah.
but I didn't know what my brother had here.
Sure.
My brother, I mean, that's what I said, we had guns here that were, and he had left some here. What he had, you could lay me 10 guns, I couldn't tell you what's what. We did have, unless I don't agree that I remember a lot. The only things I knew that were, I think were 22s were a pair of like pearl handled, which my husband, his friend has them. He's gonna try and clean them up, and he's had them for years. But
Okay. So going back to when this happened, this was in December of '85. My understanding is because Danny and Brenda were in the cities.
yeah, they had just moved down
He
there.
had just moved, right?
They were just, I think they started dating in June.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
they had just moved
Okay.
down there.
And I don't, from what I remember, they didn't want the guns in Minnesota, or maybe it was just a part of the moving process, right?
Before he moved, he was living with my brother-in-law, which you all know, Virgil Hansen. He was living there, so when he moved, we just said, well, bring what you need to here until you guys get settled.
Sure. Okay. And do you remember about how many guns he would have brought over?
I don't
Not
even
sure?
remember any guns except when my husband, had those two, which were years later. He's going, what does your brother want to do with these two pearl-handled guns? And I'm like, I don't know. Well, I don't know. He talked to Danny, and he goes, I'm going to see if John Gehrman, and this is his good friend, see if John can fix them up. Maybe they're, get them able to shoot.
Do you remember if they were revolvers or if they were
Yeah,
just
they were
regular?
handguns. They weren't,
Okay. Do you remember if it was a semi-automatic or
Lord,
a
no,
revolver?
they,
Okay.
they looked like old-fashioned guns.
Like Wild West guns, like
Yeah.
you see on TV?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Now we're going to speak to the person who she says they gave the guns to fix up. Also, just because a revolver has a pearl handle doesn't mean it's any less deadly. So the way she was saying that, it seemed like she thought that they were like show guns or just to be pretty, but that doesn't make them any less lethal at all. This is the gentleman who those guns were given to fix up.
The story that she told me about this guy and this girl, it had to be her husband. It has to be.
Yeah, I think it was.
Because she told me she got the store. They had a leather store or something.
Yep.
And she kept the house.
Yep.
And he moved somewhere with another girl or something.
Yeah, I don't know about the girl part of it, but I know that he had a store. Well, that some property was.
Right.
Yeah.
So it has to be him because this other thing, it can't be because now I watch the TV and the YouTube and all that kind of stuff. So apparently somebody got shot somewhere, whatever, triangle thing, right?
Yep.
That is not what we talked about. Because I told you, no, he had a leather store or something.
Yeah, I think, I agree, I believe it.
So
I agree with that.
and to be honest with you, I trying to really remember how it was. And honestly, we bought that gun. That 22 for $400. My wife bought that gun for $400
From Mary Jo?
from Mary Jo.
Okay. So how did Mary Jo get the .38 revolver?
I think
So now we have the connection back to Mary Jo. Mary Jo did own a 22 caliber revolver, according to this testimony from this gentleman.
well, I think that I don't think they traded. I think she didn't have a gun, so I think maybe I have no idea if it was given to her by my wife or me or I don't remember that one.
Okay.
But I know that I have all the guns that Because that gun that you're potentially talking about, because I don't know if that's the gun you're talking about, but I have all the guns that she had.
Sure.
Yeah, so I have.
Timeline that she was giving is not correct at all. And quite honestly, I believe him over her. She's saying, oh, I got rid of that gun long before. It was the fall before the winter that this person was killed. It was months earlier. And he's saying, no, it was like directly after the murder. I remember that. It's a small town. People will remember when somebody gets shot in cold blood on the stairs of their apartment building. That sticks in people's heads, right?
The thing that stuck in my head that was missing were the boots. They were supposedly had.
I think it's funny that I just said stuck in somebody's head and she opens up with stuck in her head. Let's hear what she has to say about the boots. Yeah, that was another item that was brought to trial when this went to trial, is these boots. Nobody owned these moon boots with Arctic in the heel of them. And it turns out this nice lady has a different story. Let's hear what it is.
That was missing were the boots. They were supposedly had the moon boots or something, and there's boots missing. The boots were missing, and I can't remember what else right now, what was said.
Would those be the moon boots from your mom's apartment?
No, this was 12 years later. They said the evidence was missing because, no, they were. Our understanding was that they were the boots that matched the prints.
Oh, okay.
That were going away from the apartment that day. That was our understanding of what that was. That's what we had been told the boots were.
That's not the case.
Okay. Well, that's what we were told, that they had the boots, is what we were told not long afterwards. That they had found the boots supposedly in Mary Jo's stuff, is what we were hearing. But,
yeah, okay.
So that's.
So randomly throughout the years, people have come and approached you and said these things. Have they ever been able to provide you an original source as to who they got the information from, or how they found out?
Chuck and whoever he was with, they saw it. They said they were there and saw it.
They were at the scene.
And they were at Vince's supposedly when it was something about the gun. They saw the gun in there and said it was to go to the lawyer.
Oh, okay.
And that's you know what I mean?
So that's the gun. What about the boots? Did they ever given
the boots?
This is where they question her before you saw the arrest video at the beginning. This is previous to that. The daughter was talking about it in the car where they had come down earlier and talked to her.
We absolutely do not have any desire to slam our fist on the table and say, we want her to go to prison for the rest of her life. As a matter of fact, prison, for all I know, isn't even on the table. I don't know, that's not my deal. I'm not an attorney. I'm an investigator. I can just tell you what the conversations are. Our number one goal is that we want closure. That's it. 37 years of living with this. Not only the family, but you and everybody involved. I can't imagine the gravity that you and others have on your shoulders all of this time. It's got to be insane, and I know that because I've handled other cases similar to this. At the end of the day, closure is closure. So our proposal to the DA's office is to kind of almost give you a couple options, and I want you to think about it. You don't have to answer, just giving it to you, okay? Option number one is get a hold of an attorney. Talk to the attorney. Have your attorney contact our DA. And then some back channel stuff happens, whatever attorneys do. And the case goes the way the case goes. And that could be some sort of a global resolution on probation. I don't know. That's not my deal. I'm not a lawyer. My point is, if this was a different scenario and someone was being charged with homicide, the marshal service would be coming, people would be put in a van, brought to a jail, waiting extradition, going from jail to jail to jail until you get back to Wisconsin, probably given high bond, and you never know, you might never see the light of day again, right? This isn't one of those scenarios. We're not proposing any of that. Okay? We're proposing resolution and we're proposing closure. That's what we're proposing. Now, with that being said, if option A doesn't work and if option A doesn't happen for whatever reason, and the only option we have left is option B, which is what I just described, that might happen too. But I want you to know that that's not our goal. Our goal is option A. Our goal is to get this resolved as quietly and as maybe as quietly as possible. I'll just stick with quietly, okay? So that closure at the end of the day occurs for everybody involved. You've lived a great life. Nobody is denying that. You talked about your grandkids. I've done enough research to know that you're not public enemy number one. It's not like you're out there causing any problems, okay? That goes a long way, right? That goes a long way. People made a mistake at one point in their life. That's a mistake. Can't go back on it. Wish we could. It is what it is. But there's a big difference between someone who makes one mistake in life and someone who makes a mistake and then the next week they make another and the next week they make another and then they continue down that road. Well, that's not you.
This officer does have a point that people change and there is redemption for everybody who wants it. However, you murdered somebody in cold blood. You definitely need to spend some time in prison for sure. Just because you are forgiven doesn't mean you don't face consequences.
We're 37 years later. You have a home in Arizona. You have another home in Wisconsin. Sounds like you have a great family network. You're certainly not in that public enemy number one pool. You know what I'm saying? So that's my spiel. Our spiel is that's what we're looking for. And I can't elaborate more on the evidence, only to tell you, face to face, eye to eye, we have more evidence than what we had in 1985. And to the point where the district attorney's office is ready to charge.
Okay.
And that's a pretty high burden, you know? So we want to find a way to get this resolved. Okay?
Yeah.
All right? Certainly you can elaborate if you want, or tell me what you're thinking. I'm
I still think I need to talk some legal advice. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't feel confident either way.
Yeah, I get
Till I know. I just really need to know.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. Absolutely, and that is definitely right. Mark, I don't know if you know Mark much, but Mark is a former DA and defense attorney.
That's kind of what I bring to the table in this partnership.
Yeah, that's why we brought, not why. One of the many reasons why we brought Mark involved, other than he's handsome and he's intelligent. But Mark brings the legal aspect of it, right? And he knows way more about what I just talked to you about.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he does.
So Mark, if you want, if I didn't
Just
effectively,
yeah. Let me just ask you this, Mary Jo. Now, we don't know for sure what the DA is going to do, but we do know that he's close and he's made some representations to us that he.
With the casted footprint that resembles Mary Jo's boot, witness interviews that pointed to her as the prime suspect, and even a note discovered in Mary Jo's purse that described Yvonne Menke's truck. Investigator charged.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. They found a little scrap paper that had not only the truck, like the make model of the truck, there was some writing like in the window that was written down and a license plate number found in Mary Jo's pocketbook.
Mary Jo with first-degree murder in the killing of Yvonne Menke. In May 2024, a jury found her guilty, and the judge sentenced her to life in prison. Mary Jo Bailey will serve at least 20 years before she can even ask for parole. But by the time that day comes, she will already be over 100 years old.
So that was TCD.
I had to use the bathroom.
Subscribe to his channel. It's scrolling on the bottom of the screen right now. I will also link it in the description of the video. Smaller channel, but does great work. I'm glad I found him. This is what his channel page looks like. Many videos. Yeah, go over there, give that video a like, watch some of his work over there, and tell him Katie said sent you. Let's find out what happens next. This is from Care 11, a local channel out of Wisconsin.
St. Croix Falls, Wisconsin. Police say a love triangle turned deadly. That was back in 1985. Now, nearly 40 years later, an 80-year-old woman has been arrested.
Lou Ragoose looked into why this cold case is different. Lou?
Well, Julie and Randy, this case is very different than many other cold cases because there's no DNA and no advances in technology here. Mary Jo Bailey was the top suspect from day one. And investigators believe they finally have enough pieces put together to support a murder charge. At the bottom of this enclosed stairwell at an apartment in downtown St. Croix Falls is where 45-year-old Yvonne Menke was shot 3 times. Her murder on December 12, 1985 would go unsolved for nearly 38 years.
It's always been something that people have talked about, somewhat of a little bit of a mystery.
Yvonne was going outside to warm up her car on that cold morning. After hearing gunshots, her daughter from windows above could see a short person in a long coat jogging away. According to the criminal complaint, police found footprints from Arctic Cat's snow boots, but no other evidence at the crime scene. But they soon learned Yvonne was dating the same man as another woman, Mary Jo Bailey, known then as Mary Jo Lunsman, who's now 80 years old and living in Arizona. In the 1980s, authorities said there was not enough evidence to charge. But now, Mary Jo is under arrest and will be extradited to St. Croix County to be tried for first-degree murder.
The fact that they have an arrest is a really big step for bringing closure to the family, and we're excited to be able to see that happen.
According to the criminal complaint, the evidence includes Mary Jo's Arctic Cat boots, the size and wear pattern matching the footprints. A history of phone calls from Mary Jo's home to Yvonne's home, which Mary Jo denied making, and a mysterious call from a payphone the day before the murder, in which an unknown woman asked Yvonne's daughter what time Yvonne leaves for work. Decades of interviews with people who knew the 2 women and the man they dated gave investigators the belief that he had finally chosen Yvonne. Mary Jo was jealous, and she killed Yvonne as a result. The man in the middle of that alleged love triangle died in 2021. But the court papers indicate that this case will rest heavily on a lot of the witnesses who've talked to police over the last 4 decades. Randy.
All right.
And we just watched a lot of those witness testimonies or their initial interviews, but those are the same witnesses that testified in her trial. And this is how that went.
With quite the interesting story, it's been nearly 40 years since a woman was murdered just outside of her apartment in St. Croix Falls. And today, 81-year-old Mary Jo Bailey was sent to prison for the rest of her life for doing it. The killing of Yvonne Menke shook the community she lived in to its core. And part of the pain since then has been that everybody was pretty certain that Mary Jo did it. But it was a crime in a time of no DNA or surveillance cameras, so it was nearly impossible to prove. Until now. Lou picks it up from here.
Jana, without any high-tech digital or forensic evidence, this 1985 cold case was tried just like it would have been back in 1985. For 38 years, the murder of Yvonne Menke was a mystery to the people of St. Croix Falls, Wisconsin. But those close to the case thought from the beginning that she was murdered by Mary Jo Bailey, a romantic rival, in a love triangle that had been going on for years. The man who was dating them both was local horse trainer Jack Owen.
Jack was a charismatic man who attracted the attention of a number of women.
Polk County District Attorney Jeff Kemp says by December 1985, the situation became unsustainable for Yvonne.
She gave Jack an ultimatum, either be with her exclusively or not at all.
And Jack chose Yvonne, which meant Mary Jo lost him, both as a romantic partner and as a trainer for her horses, which was Mary Jo's passion.
And to have those 2 things snatched away from her by Yvonne was too much to bear. And so she waited outside her apartment on a dark December morning and shot her to death.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help yourself.
Yvonne's daughter, Julie Connors, was 20 and lived with her mom there. She says her mom went down to warm up her car before leaving work and was shot in the stairwell. After hearing gunshots, Julie could see someone running away from this view from her window. Julie testified that she's been haunted with guilt since that day, because the day before the murder, a woman called and asked her what time her mom goes to work.
Why does talking about that make you feel emotional?
Because I feel the caller was the person who murdered my mom, and I told her everything she wanted to know to make it happen.
Police never found the murder weapon. They had no surveillance video, DNA, or other forensic evidence tying Bailey to the crime. But prosecutors had testimony from friends who said Mary Jo stalked Yvonne and Jack when they were together. And a key piece of evidence was this boot print left in the snow, which investigators turned into a plaster cast that matches a rare pair of Mary Jo's boots.
It was a woman's size 5 Arctic Cat boot. There just are not that many women that were a size 5.
And during the trial, the jury visited the crime scene, walking the stairs and seeing the parking lot themselves, which especially struck Judge Scott Nordstrand.
One of the things he mentioned during the sentencing was standing at the bottom of those stairs, you could sense Yvonne's loneliness as she was laying there.
It took the jury just 2 hours to convict, and this 81-year-old Mary Jo Bailey will now spend the rest of her life in prison.
This case was a lot like a puzzle, and it might be missing a few pieces. It was missing the murder weapon. We didn't have DNA evidence, but when you put it all back together, the pieces that we did have all showed one person.
And I asked the prosecutors why this was able to be charged now, but not in the 1980s. They said that a lot of the pieces came together in the recent investigation, including the testimony about Mary Jo stalking. In addition, Mary Jo tried to get one of the witnesses with key information not to help police. And that was pretty damning in the trial, Jana.
Yeah, Lou, you know a lot about courts and trials. For our viewers, when cases are built on a lot of circumstantial evidence, they need a lot of it. It sounds like that's what they needed, those 2 more pieces in modern times.
Absolutely, and people think that circumstantial evidence is like worse evidence, but the fact is when you put it all together like they did in this case, it really proved the case.
Curious, Lou, too, I know you were listening to this trial a bit. Did Mary Jo testify in her own defense?
She chose not to. And not sure if it would have helped because they had a lot of other stuff against her that would have come into the trial if she did.
All right, thanks so much.
Circumstantial evidence is evidence. It's in the name, evidence. So if you have a stack of circumstantial evidence, that's enough to prove a case, even a murder case like this one. I hope you enjoyed this video. I decided to do it as a video instead of a live stream. We'll see how it comes together. Please let me know in the comments below if you like this sort of thing. I'll continue doing it. Be sure to join us every Wednesday and Friday for Booze and Body Cams with my co-host Kfar. We will like to see you in the live chat there. Other than that, we'll see you next time. This is Katie Z on the Katie Z Crime Channel. Have a great night. Bye. Bye, guys.